Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm gonna do a brake service on my Honda Civic Si. I'm just doing the front brakes, not doing anything special, no rotors. The car doesn't need rotors right now. So this is just gonna be just a quick brake. Like my brakes are squeaking, and they're squeaking when I'm not using the brakes. So that tells me that the wear sensor is now in contact with the rotor. So things I need here, I have first one of my brakes. I did order the rear set too, just in case. I might set the rear later. Lug wrench, have my wheel lock, torque wrench, a caliper spreader, jack, and of course tools, and I have a jack stand as well. But I'm not going to be using jack stands on this particular install because I'm not going to be climbing under the car. I'm not going to be, it's just going to be a quick removing the tire, pushing the brakes out, putting the tire back on. So let's get started. First thing I'm going to do is check, make sure I have my brakes. So ordered the Akabono brakes. These are a ceramic brake pad, and better to go ceramic if you don't want a lot of dust. I mean, there's other different compounds you can get out there. It is a little bit more wear on the rotor, but like I said, I don't want to clean my wheels every time I drive. Look okay. Comes with new hardware. And these looks like they were probably about the size, so I'm going to proceed on. Have my wheel lock. And if you're using any air tools or a impact gun for this, be mindful not to have your torque too high, or I would just recommend you taking this off by hand, because you can strip out the teeth. There's like little gears that hold this thing in, and you can strip them out. So then until it fits, locks in, you can definitely feel it locks in. Okay. And that's loose. And that's all I need to do for this one, at least. Do the same thing on that one. I'm not taking it off, I'm just loosening them up right now. Okay. You want to do this while the wheel's on the ground. You don't want to lift the car up and then try to remove the wheel. So you can see here, there's a little section. Some cars have an arrow. This car does. I think this might have an arrow, but there's reinforced section. This is where the jack's going to go. If you put it anywhere else, you risk the jack going through the floorboard. Line that up. Double check my parking brake is on, which it is. Always recommended to chop the wheels too. Make sure the car doesn't roll when you lift it off the ground. And all I'm doing is now jacking the car up. And that's all you need right there. It's just enough to get the wheel off the ground. Now, if I were to use jack stands, if I was climbing under the car, I'd be using jack stands, and I'll be finding another contact point, either some type of component where I can use to make sure that the car stays, placed to where it should be. So we're gonna finish taking off this one. And we just need by hand, so I'll just set them here, set this aside. Okay, so this lugs are off, the wheel is still stuck. So what you can do is you can give this a little nudge from the bottom of the wheel. Just something to break it loose. Has been almost like seized on. If that doesn't work, you can also hit it with a rubber hammer mallet from the back of the wheel. So go behind it and tap it. Always a good time now to look at your tire to see how the wear is, if it's wear on the inside or not. This tire looks like it's wearing pretty good, wearing evenly. So let's set this down. So brake service is really easy. these two bolts here. 1, 2. That's it. 1, 2. These two bolts. Loosen this one, loosen this one. You can take this one all the way out and you should be able to slide this up. So we'll go ahead and do that now. Let's say this is a 10 millimeter. It's like most Japanese cars uses a 10 for most of their bolts. And looks like I was wrong. This is a little bit larger. So let's go to 12. Let's try that. 12 is perfect fit. Okay, that's it. Break it off here. Comes right out. Get it seated on. Make sure when you do it, seat it well. You don't want to. Okay, there we go. It's broken. That one's off. Okay, so now these two bolts are removed. I can now remove the caliper. And there's a little wiggle. That's all it is. You want to set that somewhere where it doesn't hang. You don't want this to hang by the brake line. So I'm gonna put it right up here on this control arm. And hope I don't knock it off. These brakes are not even worn out. I'm not sure where I was getting the squeaking from. I assumed it was the brakes. But we can go ahead and take these out and we can just proceed on. I've already got this far, might as well just replace them. Yeah, plenty of pad life left on these. So I'm gonna do a little bit of lube. And before I do that, let's use my caliper spreader. Remember, we have this. This would reseat our pad back into the piston. A good idea too is to make sure you don't overflow your brake fluid. For example, if your pads wear out, there's more brake fluid in the pistons that are pushing the brakes. Typically, if someone were to top off your brake fluid, now when you're pushing that piston back, you're pushing that fluid back in. So it's always good to uncover. So I'm gonna lift the hood and see the fluid's at the top. So I might just end up putting a little rag here. I'm gonna check and see as I push the piston back. But if you never know where the brake fluid is, it's always in your driver's side firewall, usually where the brake fluid will be. And it tells you usually on the cap, .3 or .4, for example, in this case, how much the fluid to put in. So it's fairly easy to reset the caliper. Put an old pad back in, wind this thing back, and all I'm gonna do is screw it. And that's it. Once it gets pushed all the way, you're going to screw back a little bit with the pad, and a new piston is now reset, ready to go back. I accidentally knocked this cap off. This is if you want to do a flush. This is the cover for the valve. New part's going to go on. And this is the sensor I was telling you about. So when the brake pad wears out, this is the pad material here, this thickness. Once it gets in contact with this, you're gonna start hearing the squeaking sound where this is impacting. Now, like think of the fingernails on a chalkboard. And that's your indicator to tell the driver, hey, I need a brake service. Okay, new pads are in. This is something that I've never really seen before. Not every brake setup is going to have this. You want to line up the holes, make sure your brake line is not kinked. Insert your 2 bolts back in. You can lube these if you want. Always start them by hand first. When you do it, you want to go kind of a cross pattern. Make sure you don't basically have your wheel warped on one side, which can happen. You don't. It's pretty tight here. I'll lower the car a little bit. Now I'll use my torque wrench to tighten those up to the proper torque specs. All right, I'll say this. Rear brakes. I already have the pad sitting here right now, but you have to push in this piston. The way this mechanism works is you cannot just use that caliper depressing tool I use on the front brake. I have to use a special tool because this is where the parking brake is, and there's a safety mechanism to prevent the parking brake from being it's like a lock almost. So I had to reset this whole system. So this is the kit you'll need here, and AutoZone rents these as well. You can buy them, and you just find the one that fits, and you just stick it in. You can see that it's got the little keys, and it fits into the little groove, and you just rotate it, and you spin it back that way. So all I'm gonna do is put this in here.